Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live episode of Ask Huda, broadcasting to you live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Until we receive your calls, Anna asks, is it allowed to give money to the Muslim Students Club in a mixed college for them to use? Would that count as a charity? First of all, we have to understand the role of a student club. If the student club is doing something of a social work to the students, helping those who are orphans, helping those who are in need, giving financial assistance to those who are needy, and then this case, yes, it is charity. But if it's a student club like any other student club, organizing parties and tours and making events, etc., then definitely the money would not be considered as a charity, and one should utilize the money in better ways, inshallah. Rihana from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have 4 questions today, inshallah.
Inshallah.
My first question is, I'm going to Umrah on Friday, inshallah. Can I make the intention 30 minutes before reaching Jeddah if I am flying by air? Is that sufficient? My second question is, if my menses date is near, or sometimes I get a week before also, so if I say this dua, in habasani habis fa mahalli haisu habastani, and I get the periods before performing umrah in my ihram, or then am I released from the conditions of ihram?
Okay.
Or is it must to go again and perform the umrah after I'm pure? And my third question is, if we are praying for Sunnah Rawatib, which are before the Fard of Dhuhr, which way is the authentic way? To pray 2 by 2 or to pray all 4 units together? And my last question is, someone told me not to throw hot boiling water in the sewage as jinns stay there. So is it correct, or because I boil the rice and throw the water, so is it correct, or I should not do it? Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Rayhana had 4 questions. The first question was regarding her intention for Umrah while she's coming to Jeddah airport by an airplane. We know that the people on the airplane, the flight crew, usually announce approaching the Umrah, but it is way before 13 minutes. So if you make your intention like half an hour before arriving, if you are afraid that you would be busy or sleeping or not paying attention, this is much better. 13 minutes is way too late, because you would have passed and gone after the miqat area or miqat zone. She is afraid that she may get her menses, so she's asking, is it possible to supplicate while making the intention for Umrah that if I were to have an obstacle that prevents me from continuing my Umrah, then I should reject my ihram and go back to my normal status without any expiation, which she translated in Arabic, فَإِنْ حَبَسَنِي حَابِسْ فَمَحِلِّي حَيْثُ حَبَسْتَنِي. Would that be sufficient? The answer is definitely yes, it would be sufficient. And this dua is in the hadith of Duba'a bint Zubayr. The Prophet ﷺ instructed her because she was afraid that she would fall sick and she wasn't able to make sure whether she would be fit to make Umrah or not. So the Prophet instructed her to say this dua, ﷺ. So anyone who has something to fear, so someone is going to Umrah in his car, which is 1945 model, for example, and the possibilities of its breaking down is like 70%. And he says this just in case. This is permissible. Someone whose leg was broken and he just took it off the cast and he's limping and he's afraid that he may get tired and not be able to continue, he may say this. But if someone has no reason to fear, nothing at all, then it is not permissible for him to say this dua. We have Naima from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Please, I have 3 questions and 2 clarifications.
Yes.
1, does cleaning up my baby after using the toilet nullifies my ablution? That is, if I have ablution and I clean up for my baby, maybe after using the toilet, does it nullify my ablution?
So cleaning your baby after answering the call of nature, would that affect your ablution?
No, it's my baby that answered the call of nature. I mean, I'm on ablution. So if I clean up for her after she uses the toilet, does it nullify my own ablution?
How old is she?
3 years old.
Okay.
Then I have, I have 8 months old and I have 3 years old, so the 2.
Okay. Second question.
Okay. Is it appropriate to wipe over a torn socks that is tear? Do you wipe over it?
I couldn't understand your question.
If a socks is tear, can you wipe over it? Appropriate, you can wipe socks. You have to perform the ablution, then maybe you want to perform the next time. You can always wipe socks. But can you wipe over a torn sock, a sock that is tear?
Okay.
Did you get that?
Wallahi, mashallah, your accent is a little bit difficult for me. So if I understand your question, you're asking, is it permissible to wipe over a socks that is soft?
Tear.
What is that?
Tear. Sock that is tear, that is torn, that has a torn, that's tear. T-E-A-R, tear.
C-E-A-R. Okay, anyhow, what is, any more questions?
I have to read Surah to Juma on Friday. After reading Surah to Kaf, I just love it. Is it bigger?
To do what?
To read Surah to Juma on Friday. I just love it. After reading Surah to Kaf, I just read Surah to Juma. It's just my personal way of, I just love it. Is it bigger?
Okay, any more questions?
Then clarification on, there's this time you do CQ contemporary issues. There's something I want to, contemporary CQ. I want to make some clarification. There was an hadith you quoted then that, I can't remember the person, but you said the Prophet encouraged that you pray witri before sleeping. Am I correct?
Wallahi, my sister Naima, I am unable to understand a word of what you're saying. It is my problem. I have a problem in understanding what you're saying correctly. So I would appreciate it if you can send me an email and I will inshallah reply to you. Okay, I think she's gone. Rihanna says that what is the best format of praying the sunnah, the ratiba, before dhuhr? Is it 2 offering salam, then 2? Or is it 4 rak'ahs like we pray dhuhr normally and concluding it at the 4th? It's an issue of dispute. The majority of scholars say it is best to pray 2, offer salam, then 2 and offer salam. This is safe rather than being sorry. The madhab of Abu Hanifa is that you pray it 4 in a row. There are some hadith that some scholars authenticate, such as Sheikh Al-Albani, stating that this is okay. But just to be safe rather than being sorry, whoever prays it 2, then concludes it, and then prays another 2, no one would say you've committed a sin or something wrong. While in the other hand, if you pray 4 in a row, there will be a lot of scholars who say that, Akhi, this is wrong and you should not have done this. Her 4th question and last question, what's the ruling on throwing boiled water in the drainage? So people boil rice and then they put the excess water in the sewer or the drains or the sink or whatever, because jinn lives there. This is not something authentic. We don't have authentic hadiths referring to this, but it is always best to say Bismillah. And Bismillah protects you and protects the jinn if there were to be any jinn. So whenever you do this, just say Bismillah and throw it, and you have no problem with that. Na'ima's questions, cleaning the child, whether 3 years old or 8 months old, after urinating or defecating, would that affect my wudu? The answer is no. It does not affect your wudu. And what is the ruling on wiping on the socks? And I could not understand what kind of socks, but usually people ask about socks that are thin or see-through or made of nylon or whatever. Anything that you wear on your foot, regardless of how transparent it is, how thin it is, what fabric it is made, it's not necessarily to be made only from leather. No, it can be made from any fabric, and it can be see-through. There is no problem in that. Any fabric that it is made of, as long as it fits on your foot and you wear it in the first place while you were in the state of original purity, after washing your feet and everything, and you put it on, after you break your wudu and you want to perform wudu, you can wipe over that without any problem. And she says that what's the ruling on reciting Surah Al-Jumu'ah instead of Surah Al-Kahf every Friday? No, this is an innovation. Reciting Surah Al-Jumu'ah is a sunnah if the Imam himself recites it on Friday prayer. So reciting Surah Al-Munafiqun and Al-Jumu'ah in the first rak'ah, Al-Munafiqun in the second rak'ah, this is part of the sunnah, and there's nothing wrong in that. But for individuals to every Friday recite Surah Al-Jumu'ah, this is an innovation. Aliya from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Sheikh, I have 4 questions.
Okay.
Sir, Sheikh, those who will come on visiting visa, they have to go Miqat. Once or for every Umrah, they have to go there. And my second question, my mother-in-law, she had done many Umrahs last time, but she went from home. For every Umrah, 1 goat has to be slaughtered. In the Makkah only, or it is possible in India also she can give?
She performed Umrah from her home, meaning India, or from her home?
No, from here, from Jeddah.
She lives in Jeddah or from in India?
No, she lived in Jeddah. She came on visiting visa.
Okay, and then she made Umrah?
Yeah, she made Umrah, but she did Niyyah from the home, here, from the Jeddah home.
This is the first Umrah or the following Umrahs? In the same trip or in different trips?
No, this was the last time. This was the first time what she has done. Last time I'm asking. This is the last year, the Umrahs.
So she did not make the first Umrah Ihram from the Miqat. She made it from home?
No, yeah.
And afterwards, she made it from home as well?
Yeah. For all Umrahs, she made it from home only.
Okay.
And now my third question is, if the person is not in condition to slaughter the goat, means like financial problem, then what is the solution? And fourth question, a person can perform Umrah by doing Niyyah that for 1 Umrah for 7 person. Is this true?
Okay.
Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Okay. Aliya had 4 questions. 1, if someone comes with a visit visa and wants to perform multiple Umrahs, does he have to go to the Miqat every time he wants to make a Umrah? The answer is no. The minute he comes to the area of Miqat and the Haram area, this is the first time that he has to perform his Ihram from the Miqat. So if you're coming from India and you land in Jeddah and you did not perform Umrah yet and you did not assume your Ihram, you have to go back to Taif, As-Sayl al-Kabir, and you make your Umrah from, or your Ihram from there. After that, after you finish the first Umrah and you go back to Jeddah or stay in Mecca or whatever, whenever you want to make Umrah, you do not have to go to the Miqat. If you are in Jeddah, make it from the home of the person or the hotel you're living in. You make your Ihram from there. If you're in Mecca, you have to come out of the Ihram of the Haram area and go to the closest place of Hill, which is Masjid Aisha or Tan'im, as everyone else knows it, and that is it. The second question, her mother, Aliya, came from India and she performed her Ihram from her house. If this is the first, if she came in a trip and she made 1 Umrah, she has to slaughter 1 sheep. But if she came and made in the same trip 3 umrahs, for example. So the first one, because she did not make her niyyah from the miqat, she is required to slaughter 1 sheep. And the second and third and any umrah afterwards, as long as it was in the same trip, she does not have to slaughter anything, because her ihram is from Jeddah, as mentioned in the answer of the question, of the first question. Whoever has, or whoever does not have the ability to expiate, to slaughter a sheep for not doing something that is mandatory, such as making ihram from the miqat, in this case, there is nothing for him to do, alhamdulillah. And finally, she says that we thought, or we were told that 1 umrah with the intention is sufficient for 7. And this is totally baseless. 1 hajj is for one, on behalf of 1 person. 1 umrah is on behalf of 1 person, and that is it. Sidra has a question. She says, in the East, people get together and read the Quran in order to complete the entire Quran. So each one is given 1 juzu, and we know that the Quran is compiled of 30 juzu. So they all read it in like 20 minutes, each reciting 1 juzu, and this would be a complete Quran. Also, people all over the world are telling each other to read Surah Yasin or a special part of the Quran for the 3 Muslims killed in Chapel Hill recently. Is all this permissible? And what about Surah Al-Fatiha at graves? The answer to your question, Sidra, is that all of what you had mentioned is not permissible. It is totally a fabrication and an innovation. Giving a Quran or a juz' of the Quran to someone to recite it in a gathering and then give the reward to someone else, this is an innovation that was not practiced by the Prophet ﷺ, nor by his companions, nor by the tabi'een. So this is totally prohibited. Reciting the Fatiha at graves, this is also a bid'ah, or whenever a deceased is mentioned, they say Al-Fatiha, and they recite it. All of this is an innovation. It has no basis in Islam, none whatsoever. As for the 3 who were killed in Chapel Hill, I think it was North Carolina, may Allah Azza wa Jal forgive their sins and accept them among the martyrs if they were killed defending their religion, their honor, their wealth, or their being, themselves. All of these who are killed defending these 4 things, they're considered to be martyrs at the side of Allah Azza wa Jal. Definitely it was a hate crime. Definitely it was, or it is, a clear indication that the media is biased, that the governments are biased. Whenever a Muslim does something, they paintbrush the whole of the Muslim ummah, the Muslims, of being fundamentalists, terrorists, extremists. But when they do such things, he was a lunatic. He was a psycho. He was deranged. He was this and that. Nothing to relate to his neo-Nazi or KKK or to his ethnicity or his religion, being a Christian or so. Nothing relates to this. But the Muslims are always under the microscope. So may Allah forgive them. But again, yes, you cannot recite Quran for them. Ahmadi from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Hello?
Yes.
I want to ask one question that my mother has came from India with visit visa. So I want to know that inshallah we might be going to Umrah tomorrow. So I want to know how to get ready for the Umrah because she has a sinus problem. I have heard that our hair should not fall after taking bath. Means after getting ready for Umrah. So can she use hair dryer because she has a sinus problem, or can a woman comb her hair and tie it before going to Umrah? I want to know. And is it necessary to slaughter a goat before going to Umrah? Because when I did the first Umrah, I was not knowing this, and I have did in Alhamdulillah 3 Umrah. So I want to know whether we have to do that or not.
Okay. Inshallah, I will answer your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ahmadi's question is regarding her mother coming from India for Umrah, and she has a sinus problem, and her hair falls after having a shower, so she's thinking of doing a hair dryer or tying the hair. Ahmadi, this is all baseless. Now, in Islam, if you are in the state of ihram, you're not allowed to cut or shave your head or the body hair in general, because you are in the state of ihram. There's nothing wrong in scratching your head and having a handful of hair coming out. This is natural. Combing your hair and hair falling. Washing your hair and hair falling. There is nothing wrong in that, and it does not affect your ihram. Tying your hair is no problem at all. Wearing a scarf over it, under your abaya or under your ihram, there is nothing wrong in it, inshallah. Abu Zahra from Saudi. Abu Zahra, mute your telephone. Alaikum salam. Mute your TV, please, and listen to me from the phone.
Yes, I have muted it.
Yes,
How
sir.
are you?
I'm fine.
How is your family?
Allah yazik al khair.
Allah barak. Yes, I have a question that if I walk and go to the masjid, I get in each step, there's a hadith from that each step I take, I get a reward and my status increases and one sin is reduced. Is it the same if I drive and go to a masjid, or if I go to a distant masjid, do I get more reward? Because I can't walk and go to a very far masjid. Maybe I can use a car and go to a very far masjid.
Okay.
Yes, that's
okay. I will answer you, inshallah. Alaikum assalam to Allah. Abu Zahra from Saudi Arabia is asking a question that we know that the Prophet said, whenever someone perfects his wudu and walks to the masjid, Allah would give him, with every step he makes, one good deed. He would erase one bad deed, and he would elevate him 1 degree in Jannah for every step. So he's saying, can we get the same reward if we drive? The answer is no. You will not get the same reward at all if you drive. So is it possible for me to walk to a more distant masjid to be entitled for more reward? The answer is yes. The further the masjid is, the more or greater the deeds you will be getting. And believe me, the time spent walking from your home to the masjid, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it's time of dhikr, it's time of ibadah. You are actually in the state of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal by walking. It gives you time to contemplate, to see the blessings of Allah over you, and to remember Allah Azza wa Jal. So I hope this answers your question. Muhammad from Saudi. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia. Muhammad. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'm Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Listen to me from the phone, Muhammad.
Sheikh, I'm asking these questions on behalf of my son, 12 years old son. Actually, I'm a separated mother, living with my 3 children. Unfortunately, my children are not in a very close contact with the father. So my son's questions now is, he is not in contact with the father, which is at times when he called once a while, he refused to talk to the father, and he has the feeling of hate, something like that in him. I tried to explain to him, but he wants to listen from you. Is this a sin? And how he wants to, because he's very angry with the father, so how he can, how to explain to him that this is
his name?
Not good in our religion.
What is your son's name?
Muhammad.
Okay, I will answer you. Muhammad.
Thank you very much.
Salam, jazakallah khair. Muhammad, my dear son, I know what's going in your heart, being alienated by your own father and feeling distant from him. Separating with your mother might have been his mistake, might have been her mistake. It might have been a test from Allah Azza wa Jal. But this feeling that you are developing is from shaitan. I know that you have a lot going on in your young mind, but you have to be aware of it. Allah Azza wa Jal has put us in this life as a test. So like you go to school, you study for a whole year, and then you apply for a test, and maybe you fail and maybe you pass, inshallah. The same thing is this life. We live, we grow old, and we die. All of these tests, we come and we prove ourselves, and we pray to Allah that we do not fail, and we pray to Allah that we succeed. Your test is how you treat your father and how you treat your mother. No matter how bad your father is, no matter how sinful your father is, this is between him and Allah. Your test is to be obedient, to be respectful, to go out of your way to make him happy, regardless of all his shortcomings, regardless of all of the wrong things he had done to you. He will be questioned by Allah on the day of judgment. This is his problem. But if you treat him otherwise, it will become your problem, because Allah will test you accordingly. So remember that you carry his name. Remember that Allah has given him rights over you that you must fulfill. And Allah had made his right close to his own right of worshipping him alone, the Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. It is very difficult. I don't say it's easy. It needs a man. And Muhammad, inshallah, you are that man. You will try your level best to overcome these feelings of hatred and change them into feelings of love, respect, and obedience. Not because of your father, but because Allah loves this from you and Allah wants this from you. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that He makes you an Imam of the Muslims. Ameen. And Allah knows best. Abu Zahra from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Salamullah.
Yes, I have 3 questions.
Okay.
I'm asking this question on behalf of my brother regarding the business. He has a land and he has given it for a rent.
Right.
But the rent is the company which is taking over is a bank. The bank is running the show. The bank has built a building and he is receiving a rent from the bank. So he wants to know, is this halal or haram? By the way, the place where he's living is a non-Saudi, non-Islamic state.
Okay. Is the bank building the building for itself or to rent it as apartments?
To rent the apartment.
Okay.
And the building is constructed by the bank. They are the one in charge for it.
Okay.
But the rent is paid to his father. Second question is that it is associated with cinemas. For me, as far as I know, alhamdulillah, songs is haram totally. I told my friends watching movies which is bad, haram I told. The one business attached with this. That is, he has a shop and he has so many idols, furnitures, sets, which he gives to the other companies which are involved in shooting. Like they shoot for a hospital scene, he will provide the bed, he will provide the cot, he will provide the IV stand. Suppose they shoot for a jail, he will make an artificial jail.
I understand. I understand. Yeah. I understand.
Yes, and he gets the income as a contract, as a monthly basis, like on cereals they're making.
I understand.
Third question is, me and my wife are going to Philippines, alhamdulillah, next month for vacation from Saudi for 1 month stay. Now she is going back to her own house. She's asking me, does she have to read Salah with combined prayers? We are going for approximately 4 weeks.
Has
5
she,
weeks, almost 30 to 35
Abu
days.
Zahra, your wife, has she migrated from the Philippines or she is intending to go to live there someday?
No, she's going with me for a vacation.
I understand, Akhi. I understand. My question is clear. Is she in the future, after 20, 30 years, intending to go back to the Philippines to reside and die there? Or she has migrated with you, whether you're going back to Pakistan, India, or to US, to Canada, forever, and she goes there only for vacation.
She is going to follow me wherever I go.
Khalas, understood.
So most probably, I have not decided yet where I'm going.
Okay, I understand.
I'll be staying in Saudi at present. Future, Allahu Alam.
I will answer your question, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Hayyak Allah akhi. Abu Zahra's first question. His friend has land, a property, and he is renting it to a bank. And the bank is building a building. So is the income halal or haram? This depends. If the bank is building this building as an investor, so he is actually building a high riser, and then he is selling it with a profit to someone else, or he's building a building and renting it to as apartments for 20 years, and then it will be on the basis of BOT, build, operate, and transfer back to your friend while still giving annually the rent. This is permissible because the bank, regardless of his income or the source of money he's getting, now he's doing something that is legitimately permissible. It's halal. But if the bank is building a building or having an office where he's operating from to do his transactions which are riba based, then your brother or your friend is contributing to this major sin and the rent would be haram. So this depends on the actual transaction with the bank, whether the bank is doing it for building a bank or for building a high riser and anything that is halal of that sort. Muhammad from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
I'm working in Jeddah. I just want to ask you if we can rent our house in India to non-Muslims who will further keep idols or drink alcohol. My second question is my mother-in-law, am I a mahram to my mother-in-law? And the third question is from Jeddah, which type of Hajj is the best from here? Jazakallah. Thank you so much, Sheikh.
Wa jazak, hayyakallah. Okay, Abu Zahra's second question. A friend of his has a shop which gives services to filmmakers, to studios. So we know that Bollywood, for example, there are studios and they need decoration. So he supplies them with all the decoration they need for the films. Is this permissible? The answer is totally no. It is totally prohibited because he's aiding them on their evil and their sin, and whatever they do and whatever sins that people acquire from watching their movies, your friend is taking a huge part of it. His third question, his wife has a house in the Philippines and she doesn't live there anymore. She does not intend to go back there anymore. So when she travels there 4 weeks a month, which, that is 4 weeks a year, or maybe every 2 years in their annual vacation, would she complete the prayer or shorten? The answer is she's a traveler and she shortens the prayer, even if the house is hers, but because she's not a resident of the Philippines, nor she is an expat intending to go back to her home country after 10, 20 years of finishing work. Now she's married, she follows her husband wherever he goes. We have Muhammad from Saudi.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Samtullah.
Sheikh, last year in Ramzan, I went to perform Umrah, but due to the more rush, I was not able to complete the Umrah. Just I went and I came back from outside only. So shall I give the sacrifice or I have to repeat Umrah?
Okay.
And if I cannot give if I am not in the state of giving this sacrifice, what should I do?
Where are you living, Muhammad?
In Makkah, Sheikh.
You're in Mecca?
Yeah.
Subhanallah. Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay.
Muhammad from India says, what's the ruling on renting my house back home in India to a non-Muslim who might have idols and who might drink and who might... There is nothing wrong in renting your house to a non-Muslim. Now, what he is going to do, this is all speculations. You never know. Therefore, as long as you do not know, you can give the house on rent. But if someone who is a priest or someone from a temple wanting to open a branch in your apartment as an annex to a temple where people would come and worship their haram gods. In this case, no, definitely you cannot facilitate or help in such evil. But if someone, he's a non-Muslim, what he does, this is something between him and Allah. I'm renting the house for him to live. I don't know if he's going to have idols. And even if he has idols, this is between him and his Lord. Even if he drinks, as long as it is not publicly coming to me, say, Akhi, I'd like to take your apartment. Every Sunday we have an orgy, so you're welcome to come. No, definitely I'm not going to rent my house to such a person. But someone who's a non-Muslim wants to rent it and I don't know anything about him, speculations do not prevent me from doing so. Aliya from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam.
Sheikh, I asked before also, the slaughtering the goat, we can give in India also, or we have to give in Makkah only?
For Umrah?
Yeah, for Umrah, for that, I told I ask you the question, second question.
Okay, I will answer you.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Inshallah. Muhammad's second question was, am I a mahram for my mother-in-law? The answer is yes. You are mahram for your mother-in-law forever. So even if your wife dies, and even if you divorce her or any separation happens, your mother-in-law remains your mahram until you die. And thirdly, he says, what is the best hajj for the people in Saudi Arabia? This depends. If you are able to go and perform Umrah and stay in Mecca for a week or two, then do tamattu'. If you are just going there for 4 or 5 days and you're close to Mecca and you often go to Umrah, then make ifrad. And if you want to make qiran by having this intention, this is also permissible. So it is the best is to do tamattu', providing that you stay in Mecca for some time. Zahir from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
My grandmother has been having severe headaches for the last 10 days. Is there any sunnat treatment for her?
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
Okay. I will answer you, inshallah. Okay. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, she asked a question, and she's from Mecca, and she says that she went for Umrah, she made ihram from At-Tan'im, and in the middle of the Umrah, it was so crowded, she couldn't continue, so she called it off and she went home. So what is the penalty, and does she have to slaughter a sheep? This is a very common mistake that people think and do. They make ihram, they go to haram, and just for any reason say, I'm not going to continue. Call it off. No, this is not permissible. The minute you assume your ihram, you cannot get out of it until you finish your ritual, whether Hajj or Umrah, or you were blocked, or there is something that had prevented you from continuing your Umrah, and it's legitimate. It's called ihsar. So there's an enemy that is preventing you from entering Mecca. There is a flood that is preventing you from entering Mecca. You fell sick, and really sick to the extent that they took you to a hospital and you were there in bed, and this is ihsar. You could not continue. But going there, feeling a little bit tired, no, go back, stay in your state of ihram. You cannot take it off. So for you, Muhammad, you have to go back and you have to continue and complete your Umrah. You cannot just simply say, I'm calling it off. You are still in the state of ihram now. You got to say, oh, this is like 6-7 months ago. Still, you are in the state of ihram. And as you hear my question, you should refrain from all restrictions of ihram. So at the moment, you should not be wearing any gloves or niqab. You should not wear perfumes. You should not shave or cut your hair or clip your nails or have any intimacy with your husband until you finish your Umrah. What about the things that I've done? We had intercourse, we had this, we had that. All of these restrictions, I have committed the whole 9 yards, thinking that I was halal. No, you are not. You are in the state of ihram until this moment. As for what had been done in the past, because of your ignorance, this is forgiven and there's no expiation for you. Immediately go now. Maybe you can catch Isha in Haram, and this is 100,000 prayers. Offer Isha prayer, continue your tawaf, your umrah, cut your hair and call it umrah. We have Abu Zahra from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
I'm sorry, regarding the previous question which I asked you regarding my wife and me staying in Philippines for 1 month.
Yes.
She is a Filipino. She has a passport Philippine, and I'm Indian.
Okay.
But I heard one of the colleagues in India. He told me that if you stay for more than 2 weeks in a place, you're supposed to completely read all the salah.
Okay, I will answer
completely.
you. I will answer you.
Is there any authentic hadith on that? How many days? Because here also in our masjid, the imam told me if you're going to stay for 3 days or more than 3 days,
4 days,
you're supposed to read. So I'm a little confused on this.
Okay, I will clarify your confusion, inshallah, for free. Inshallah. You're welcome, Akhi. Aliya from Saudi Arabia, she says that what happens if someone did a mistake by not making ihram from the miqat? We say he has to slaughter a sheep in Mecca. Can he slaughter it in India or anywhere else? No. It has to be slaughtered in the area of Haram and distributed to the poor living in the area of Haram. Zahir or Zahid, I forgot. I can't even read my own handwriting. He says that his mother has been suffering from headache, severe headache, for the past few days. Is there any dua? There's nothing specifically for headaches. But in the hadith of Uthman ibn al-As, may Allah be pleased with him, and it's in Sahih Muslim if I'm not mistaken, he said that I have complained to the Prophet of some illness I find in my chest. So he said to me, and write this down, Zahid, he said, put your hand wherever it hurts you from your body. So I have a problem in my shoulder, I have a problem in my tennis elbow, I have a problem with my head. I put my hand over the place of pain, and you say 3 times, Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. These are 3 times. And then you say 7 times the following, أعوذ بعزة الله وقدرته من شر ما أجد وأحاذر. You repeat this 7 times. أعوذ بعزة الله وقدرته من شر ما أجد وأحاذر. Uthman ibn al-As said that I said this and Allah Azza wa Jal relieved me from my pains. And I've tried this, and so many people have tried this, and Allah Azza wa Jal would always answer their call. So let's do this, and inshallah Allah would cure her. Muhammad from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
I have got 2 questions. One question is there. Whenever we enter into the masjid, we have to pray 2 rakat as a salutation to the mosque. This is for the prayer I can do it, but I'm thinking about the Maghrib. Maghrib is about 5 minutes, Azan is about 5 minutes. If I enter into the masjid, shall I pray or not, or wait for that?
Okay.
Second question is there. Usually people are relatives, take money from me, and they will promise to return it so and so date or so month. But it is usually they will not be on time, or they forgot. So like it is necessary to remind them or give the time.
Okay.
Because I can give them that time.
Okay.
So
I will
just
answer.
advice.
I will answer you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I have 2 minutes before we conclude this program, so we will not take any calls. I'll try to utilize the time to answer the calls. We have just received a few emails, inshallah. Abu Zahra says that his wife is from the Philippines. Akhi, I understand your question totally. And regardless of the nationality, it all depends on whether you are going back after you finish your contract to that country or you've migrated. In the case of your wife, she has migrated. Now, the confusion lies not in the country itself. It lies in the period that a person is permitted to shorten prayer. Some say if you intend to stay for more than 4 days, then you have to complete, no shortening. Others say 19 days. Others say give or take, few here and few there. 2 weeks, I've never heard this opinion before, but you never know. So what is the most authentic opinion that would relieve us from the confusion? The most authentic opinion is that there was no mentioning of the period in the Sunnah at all. So as long as you are considered to be a traveler and you have not settled, you may shorten your prayer, even if you stay there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Sometimes I go to do program shooting in countries, Dubai, in India, and Egypt, and I stay there for 4 weeks, and I shorten the whole period. There's no problem in that. You move from one hotel to the other, you move from one house to the other, from one location to the other. You're a traveler. If someone calls my home, they will say, Asim is traveling. So I am considered to be a traveler. But if I'm going to study in the UK for a whole year, a course, and I go in the first 3-4 weeks, yes, I'm a traveler, but after 4 weeks, I've rented an apartment, and now I'm settled. I know where the masjid is. I go on time and come back on time. Now I cannot shorten or combine because I have become settled. I'm a settler, as if I'm a resident in that place. So for you, 2 weeks is no problem. 4 weeks is no problem, as long as you do not feel settled. Muhammad's question, that if someone comes before adhan of Maghrib to the masjid, we know that he cannot sit before praying 2 rak'ahs, and we know that the Prophet ﷺ prohibited us to pray after Asr until the sun sets. So what to do? The answer is you pray 2 rak'ahs. You would never ever enter a masjid and sit down without prayer. You have to. Either you pray a fard, you pray a sunnah, or you pray 2 general rak'ahs for greeting the masjid or tahiyyat al-masjid. Likewise, if you enter after adhan before the salah, you pray these 2 rak'ahs. His relatives take money off him, and they say a few days and we'll get it back to you, and it's like been months and years. Should I remind them? This is up to you. If you remind them, this is your God-given right. It's your money, and they should be ashamed of themselves. You're not a charity organization. If they told you, give us a sadaqah, a charity, that would have been easier. But to tell you, give us a loan and we'll give it to you after a week, and it's been 7 years now, this is not permissible at all. Now, if you're ashamed or a little bit shy of asking them or embarrassed from asking them, no problem, don't ask, especially if you're well off. But you have to pay zakat for that amount every year. But if you know that they are stone broke and they have nothing, and you know that even if you ask them to give you, they will not give you because they don't have money, in this case, there is no zakat to you until they return it, even if they return it after 10 years. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next week, same time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and in